Good morning and welcome to Village in Motion. I'm Marcia Boyles and I'm delighted to start Village in Motion this morning with our guest, who is Sue Franke, who I think many of us have known for a number of years. Sue Franke is the social worker in Neighborhood 2.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you, Marcia.
And you're going to be talking this morning about something that I know you have talked about before, which is, as you and I were saying, is always pertinent, and that is fall prevention.
And it's near and dear to my heart for sure, because it can affect any of us at any point in time, and it happens so quickly. So it's just talking about and thinking ahead of time, being more proactive than reactive about some of the things that we can do to help prevent those falls, both in the apartment, out in the community, and then right now, as the weather is not always the best, so in inclement weather, how we can also prepare for that. Let's start with some of the ideas that I have read and I feel that are very helpful in terms of the cold weather and then also the ice and snow, as we are still at the very beginning of January, and even though the weather's going to be nice and warm today, we still have the possibility of snow and ice to come.
Winter is still here.
Yes. But some of the ideas are in terms of helping to prevent falls. Number one is to make sure when you go outside that you are fully protected from the elements. So you have a nice warm coat on with good layers to keep you warm. You have gloves or mittens on so you don't have to put your hands in your pocket, because having your hands tucked in a pocket makes it so that you're not as stable. You need those hands to be able to help balance. Also, something to protect your ears is helpful. That way, when you're outside, you're not hurrying. You can take your time, you're warm, and so you're not feeling the effects of that chill.
I suspect also not wearing high heels and things of that sort also would be helpful.
So good flat shoes.
Watch your shoes, yes.
Good flat shoes with a nice sole on it. They do recommend that it be of a non-slide texture on the bottom. Boots that have good traction are very helpful. But then also to think, if you have some ice or some snow on the ground, is how you're going to walk. They talk about using penguin steps. So if you think of a penguin with its arms down at the side and sort of waddling back and forth, it makes a good visualization, helps, but it's talking about walking with flat feet. So walking as flat-footed as you can, very small steps, and a little stooped over. So just taking your time.
Oh my, Sue, what the image of that.
Yes.
I mean,
yep.
Okay.
But if you're going to be outside when there's any kind of ice or snow or anything slip or slick out there.
Well, and penguins do very well in the ice, don't they?
They do.
Oh, gosh. I never really heard it described like that before. That's very funny.
But and we do have a good visualization right now on the screen. So just thinking about that as you're out there. If you have an assistive device, please make sure you use it. So a walker, any type of a rollator. So make sure you have that stability. And it may be even helpful to get somebody to be with you, or just to plan on staying inside. I think those are some good options.
That sounds like a very sensible plan.
Yeah. The other thing that not everybody thinks about is if you've been outside and are coming inside, sometimes the ice or the snow can get stuck on your shoes.
Yes, it
so
can.
To make sure once you come inside that you've knocked off anything that's on the bottom of your shoes, to reduce any type of risk, especially if you're coming into a stairwell and planning to use the stairs in any form or fashion, either up or down, that little residue from the snow or ice could make them more slippery. So being aware of that as well. So those are some thoughts in terms of being outside, making sure in any type of weather that you always have at least one hand available. So if you're carrying packages, make sure they're just in one hand. I recommend that if you go to the store and have packages, that you carry along with you one of those carts so you can put your packages in a cart, or plan on getting one of our shopping carts and having that to use from the get-go, so that you don't have to have multiple items in your hand.
And rollators are certainly wonderful for carrying things too.
Yes, so they give you the stability that you need, plus the ability to be able to carry things. So always making sure you have the stability, but then hand-free if you're not going to use an assistive device.
That's a really good point, not to have things in both arms.
Yes, or hands in pockets. Make sure you always have your hands-free for yourself. And then we go into the apartment. I think one of the big things that I would recommend is making sure you have good lighting. We were talking a little bit about eyes and vision before we started. And as we age, our eyes do let in less light. They just don't work as efficiently as they did when we were younger. So it takes more light to be able to get our bearings, especially in the middle of the night. So making sure you have a night light, something to be able to light your way, that you're not going to be trying to get up in the middle of the night and using a dark pathway to get to the bathroom. So always making sure that you have a nice lit path for yourself. We have now so many different technology abilities. There are lights now that can come on just by motion sensory. So maybe to utilize one of those. So that I see that as being important.
Some of our apartments, and I happen to live in one, face areas where there are no street lights, no lighting of any sort. I mean, it is absolutely, totally pitch black at night. It really is extremely important to have some light someplace.
Yes, and a lot of our apartments go through the closet. So from the bedroom to the bathroom, you're actually going through a closet.
That's
so making sure that pathway is always clear. The tendency can be to drop clothes on the floor in a closet, or shoes out in the way. So making sure that pathway is always clear, so that you have a clear pathway into the bathroom when you might not be as stable otherwise. Making sure that if you use an assistive device, that it's always by the bed, that when you get up, you take your time. It's not always easy to do, but when
particularly in the middle of the night. I mean, usually folks are in a rush.
Yes, but sometimes that rush can cause the blood pressure doesn't always regulate quite as quickly. So making sure that you give yourself some time to sit on the edge of the bed, make sure, wiggle your toes, make sure they're working pretty well, and before you make that walk to the bathroom. So those are some important items as well.
All right, those occur to everybody. Occur for everybody.
But then I think also to look at it from a different standpoint, we have so many wonderful services and abilities here to be able to keep your strength up. And one of the biggest prevent fall tips is to keep yourself active. So to utilize the fitness center, to go down there, have them look and help you with a program down there to keep yourself active. We have so many different programs here down in the Forest View shuffleboard area, and then over in Town Center with the classes they have there, to utilize those and really being proactive with yourself to keep the balance and to keep the strength up, so that
reflexes.
Yeah, Tai Chi is known. Apparently, there have been studies, and Tai Chi has been studied to prove that it can help with balance and to prevent falls. So I know our fitness center has some classes involving the Tai Chi, which is important. The swimming aerobics is very good for that as well. So there's a lot of different things. And if the fitness center really doesn't feel like a good fit at this time, to even talk to your doctor about some physical therapy. So if you're
And they
feeling,
always send you home with exercises.
yes, and then to do them.
And to do them.
I think that's the hardest part
Yeah,
is to set
Having
yourself.
a routine to do them.
Yep. It's easier. It's easier to say, I'll do it tomorrow, but to take that initiative for yourself and say, I think this will help me to stay strong and help prevent those falls.
Absolutely.
But then another piece that I recommend for many, many residents, especially those that live in the apartment by themselves, is our emergency pendant, which is a pendant that you wear around your neck or on a belt, hook it onto a belt so that if you should fall in the apartment, it would give you the ability to be able to contact security immediately.
You don't have to get to a pull cord.
You don't have to get to a pull cord. You don't have to figure out how to crawl or to slide or to have to be in one position for an extended period of time. So that's another good resource we have here. General Services can help set that up. They can also talk to residents about the price for that. So that would be
There's a monthly fee.
There's a monthly fee of a little over $15, which compared to all the other services is really quite economical.
Yes, it is. And it connects with our security folks. Is that correct?
It does. Anywhere on campus. Used
Oh,
to be-
anywhere on campus.
It used to be just in the apartment.
Yes.
Now there's a component that makes it so that anywhere on campus, security is able to track where you are.
All right. Well, that's certainly helpful.
Yeah, so even outside, it's able to monitor that. So I think that's a helpful.
Yes, I think for those of us who are concerned about falling, that there would be a real comfort, I think, in having one of those.
Definitely, definitely. So I think it's really to leave the community, the Green Spring community, in thinking proactively. So today, to take a little bit of time and look at your daily routine, to look at it to make sure that you are doing what you can to help yourself prevent falls, not getting up on kitchen chairs to find something high up on a shelf, anything that you use a lot to put down on the lower shelves. If you need to climb up on something, get a nice sturdy step stool with a support
So
on
if you
it.
have to climb up to something, I think you get a nice sturdy maintenance person to come in.
Sounds good to me, Marcia. I'm in full agreement. Or a
Yeah.
family member.
Or a family member,
That's right.
exactly
But
right.
or somebody else that is able to do
Absolutely.
that
We're
easily.
really past the years when we should be climbing on ladders.
I'm in agreement
Or
there.
on chairs.
But for those that feel the need and can't stop themselves, please.
Oh,
And the other piece that I've always been surprised at is the recommendation, even in your apartments, is to wear some type of shoe. So to not walk around with bare feet
oh my. Well, now that one I can't agree with.
or with socks, because shoes give you the best stability.
You know, for some of us, actually, stability is much greater without shoes on. Anybody with spinal stenosis will tell you that exact same thing. You feel like you can grip a little bit.
Well, I have to say, Marcia, all the experts, all of the material out there
All right,
says
all right.
to wear shoes in the apartment.
I don't doubt it for a minute because your feet are very vulnerable. I mean,
Yes.
there's no question about it. It's just a matter. Partly, I think it's psychological.
Yep.
But I mean, for many of us, the first thing we do when we get to the apartment is take off our shoes. Well, But I'm sure you're right.
Yeah. So those are some things to think about as you go about your day and looking at how your apartment is situated and whether you have some nice clear paths in the apartment. A number of residents have rugs. We have wonderful wood floors now, but making sure if you have a rug on top of your wood floor, it's tacked down nicely.
Exactly. Or has rubber backing or
Rubber
something.
backing. You can get tacking strips at any of the hardwood stores, Home Depot, lows, so that you can tack down the edges, making sure that they don't. Sometimes rugs walk.
Exactly.
And they
Exactly.
make wrinkles in the rugs. So taking a look at your rugs to make sure they're nicely on the floor and nice
stable.
and stable and spread out on the floor, so that they won't catch your toe or catch an assistive device.
Yes, those could be deadly. Well, Sue, I see we're running out of time here. I think these are all wonderful ideas, and it's just a matter of, as you're pointing out, thinking about this ahead of time so that you don't get yourself in trouble, because falls really, and we all know, really create havoc in people's lives, probably every day here.
They do. And if you should fall, make sure you tell your doctor. Sometimes
Yes.
we want to hide the fact that we fall.
I know, and they always ask when you go to the medical center whether you've fallen.
It's important that they know. If
Yes.
one person knows, it's that your doctor knows that you've had that fall.
All right,
so
that's a
that they
good
can
point.
track it.
Well, Sue, this was most interesting as always. I think I have interviewed you at least once and maybe twice before about falls, but I always learned something, and so we appreciate your coming and doing this.
Thank you. And I encourage residents to look at the bulletin board. Every month I have a different prevent fall tip up on the
do you?
bulletin board.
All right, good.
And so it's always good to just check that and double check how we go about our daily routine.
All right, and think about it.
Yes.